All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Paranoia Agent, Episode 9. All right, so the last episode was extremely dark, but
Just a little bit.
It had a wholesome family quality to it in that we had this trio together that loved each other and cared about each other, and we got to see what that kind of experience was like for them to just be together for the first time. IRL, not not over online, and that's kind of sweet. It did have the context of that they were all dead at the end of the episode.
That bit of dissonance there, and the fact that they were
what they were
kill
attempting
themselves
to do,
and all that.
So there's that. But they were also completely disconnected. At least it seemed like. Oh no, because they were connected to the fake Shonen Bat, and that was their tie into the previous stuff there. Yeah. So I don't know how they're going to continue this since none of them were since if they're all dead, they can't really connect to future storylines. So
unless maybe through Maniwa, since he was one of the other people potentially talking with them.
Yeah, it might have been. It might be that. It's that this is just the way that they're going to show how other people are influenced by the Shonen Bat.
All the stuff that's already happened.
Paranoia.
Yeah.
So that'll be a thing. But hopefully, let's get something a little less dark. I'm totally fine with it being like trippy and weird, but
that was heavy.
It was heavy. Yeah. So y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Oh.
Is this? I think this is Ava's voice actress. Or Anna's from Monster.
いいのよ。別に無理しなくたって。あれが少年バットの仕業だったっていうの？誰にも言わない。言わない。
Oh my god, come on, buddy. Oh boy. That's just like this kind of I said I didn't want like dark and disturbing.
Yeah, the worst is yet to come.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh, jeez. Wow. Okay. I want to talk about this in the discussion, but I also kind of want to talk about it now. Like, this kind of like, ooh, we gather around and share all the gossip and stuff pisses me off so much. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Oh my god. I don't even want to know what's in it.
Wow.
This old woman's about to get attacked with this. Oh my god. Oh! Wow! Yeah, it's perfect. Now this is getting sickeningly funny, actually. We're just telling a vignette of stories, like, just 1, 2, 3. Aww. Getting the wrong person. No! No! Don't you dare. Wait. Oh, they mixed it up? Oh.
先生
Wow.
殺すぞ。
Wow.
もうはっきりと人間の形になってきたでしょう。
順調なんですね
Oh, why would you take such a happy thing and turn it into this, like,
順調そのものです
just, ugh.
なんだか動きが激しくてひどく痛むんです先生まさか流産なんてこと
そう、あなたの赤ちゃん。元気なあなたの赤ちゃん。
What the actual fuck?
それは嘘よね
Ugh.
少年バットは今いるのよ。これから生まれてきてどうすんの？鴨原さんのご主人脚本家だって言ってたわよね。だったら奥様もちょっとマシなお話作んないとね。
でも
Never mind the fact that this is all we do to.
Yeah.
Oh my god. My sister's acquaintance's cousin's daughter.
Yeah.
誰にも言わない言わない
I love that they're giving us so many stories in the one episode, though.
Yeah, yeah.
私たちが出会った時のこと
I almost expect Guts' theme song to start playing.
Why is it though? Like,
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
makes so much sense, right? Ah, the literature club brought us together. I've seen this anime.
Alright, we're not beating around the bush, cutting right to the chase.
一枚が落ちる時私の命もきっと
バカなこと言うな
A lot of leaves start to
アキコはきっと良くなるよ僕は君を生かせやしない絶対君を死なせたりしない
Ah,
Oh,
that's adorable. I was gonna say he's gonna staple a leaf to the tree, but instead it's
yeah.
this.
So they never go away.
いなくなってしまったら僕は
Mm.
僕はどうやって生きていけばいいんだ
Oh, and it's so well painted. Well
Yeah.
done.
ああ
I had. Why did I have a feeling that was gonna happen?
なんか切ないわね
でもま
Uh,
あ二人一緒に行けたんならね。
今の話変じゃないですかだってそれ有名な
有名な何よ
as the scriptwriter's wife, she would know.
Uh-huh.
She would know, like, if that's a
Yeah.
famous story. Like, that's. Oh my god.
そうしたら
When will these middle-aged women shut the f up? Like,
Never.
we're getting closer and closer to just the source of it all, with actually having the batter be Shonen Bat, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
3球勝負でいくぞ。
It's
Yep.
probably going to be shown in
まっすぐ走って
back.
るから
Right.
ストレート勝負と見せかけて最後は落とす。いいな。はい。いやそれより内角低めだ。そこを俺が飛びついてやる。
はい。
Wait, since when does baseball ever
Yeah.
become this kind of a discussion? And why are there even less people now on the field than there were before?
Yeah, yeah.
内角高めを
Oh my
つまら
God.
せ俺が取る。
はい。
よーし。アブカ好きに放れ。すべてお前にかかってる。頼んだぞ。
Oh, it's just.
試合再開です
Oh my god.
それは嘘よねだって選手のやりとりなんか聞こえないし
それ私も見た鴨原さん知らなかったの
Wow. The desire to be kind of in on the
Yep,
whole
yep, yep,
thing
yep,
of this
uh-huh.
just to create the. Oh, look, it's Onizuka.
うちは
Onizuka, what happened to you, buddy? Arizuka! Arizuka! The Mr. Arizuka! Ah!
Wait,
Ah!
wait.
Oh my god,
Wait,
now
wait,
we
wait.
get to see this story too.
Okay, he looks.
This
Wait.
is exactly like Onizuka! What is happening?
And he's making a almost a little bit of a face there.
What? The show is so crazy. I love it.
I hope this is supposed to be a reference and we're not just reading it into it, you know?
He even sounds like Onizuka.
Sushi, his
Wow,
weakness.
yep. Now it's just steaming. Hot. Beautiful.
No, what?
Ah, this is totally... I'm getting hungry now. Come on. Like... Wow! Well done!
Well done.
That was...
聞いたことあります。少年バットが食べ物に困った人。
Oh my god. It's just all encompassing. The whole thing has just taken on its own life to become just mass madness. Just everyone's delusion. No, it's a bat.
ちょっと何よそれ。適当なこと言ってんじゃないわよあんた。
Oh, that's gibberish?
どうせつくなら少しはマシな嘘つきなさい。
You're about to have a real story.
Yeah.
Right here.
Well,
毎度。
あなた。あなた。どうしたの？一体どう
Oh
したの？
no.
少年バット。
どうやってやられたの？どうやってやられたの？
wow.
救急車。
ねえったらどうやってやられたのよ。
Do,
Well.
do, 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 do. Well,
That episode didn't get dark.
no, it
No.
was just telling us something I think we already kind of knew, but just showing the extent of it.
So have they just completely gone away from...
Yeah, all the named characters that we
Yeah.
know? I think so, for now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's just become bigger than them.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they never went back to the named characters, because, you know, in a lot of ways, what do they matter now?
Yeah,
You know,
because there's
the-
nothing that can really stop this. So
Mhm.
it's just something that will continue to go on. And all of these episodes are basically little societal lessons as to what propagates it, you know? Oh, we're getting to this area.
癒しが夢を紡ぎつつから抱えてひた走る彼が目論む本能寺さて
Well,
Okay, so yeah,
Mhm.
mass paranoia, and also we go in this episode to target gossiping middle-aged women.
yes.
Because they are definitely something that I do not understand, for one, personally. I also have a personal distaste
For gossip?
for not only gossip, but I would say the specifically the gossip in the circles that's built around the idea of one-upping each other's stories. It's so stupid.
Right,
It's
the
not
idea
only-
of the self-perpetuating gossip, where it's not just like gossiping about something, but it's
Right.
like all right, now like we're not even here for the purpose of
anything. Anything.
Right.
It's the most pointless, inane, stupid waste of time. Now, I am personally someone that despises this stuff. The reason why is because in a one-on-one setting, you can have someone who comes to you and is like, hey, I really need to talk about this thing that's bothering me and it involves other people. that is a form of
Sure.
a form of gossip in a way, but it's more just trying to help process through your problems and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And that's very important, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get beyond the one-on-one, for one, that's one thing.
Yeah.
And then you make it about the group thing, and then you make it about the actual passing of the stories around.
Right.
It goes so quickly from really, really seemingly innocent things that are actually, in my way, also, I think, are really disgusting. There's a form of, I would call it parental dick measuring, where they basically start throwing out things that are things that they're excited about. But it goes from things that they're excited about to being, look what my little boy did, or look what my little girl did. Well, and then that turns into a thing of then not just then a positive thing, because I think in some ways sharing your positive things, that can be good, right? Mm-hmm. But then it goes into the thing of, oh, did you know what so and so? Oh, you won't tell anyone. Like, it goes so quickly into this that I despise it in all forms. In all forms. And part of the reason why, for any of you are like, can you give me like a shortened version as to why? Is because if people talk about others when you're around, they talk about you when you're not around.
Right. I have very hard time respecting people that I know gossip. Because like I've been gossiped about, you know, I don't like it. I don't wish to partake in anything, you know, even remotely relating to that involves other people. Like that's just no.
Yep. Like also in general, you get a little bit of a vibe on the intellectual depth of a person based on how much time they spend speaking about other people, versus how much time they spend talking about, you know, ideas, you know, theoretical things in the here and now. You know, not just theoretical things, but I meant more actionable things in the here and now.
And also just generally how happy they are.
That too.
Because the thing is... Yeah. Because, okay, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of why people gossip, even though I don't myself. Right?
Vicarious living,
right? And there's the gossiping about the good stuff, like, you know, kind of like the my friend, you know, blah blah blah. I know people that do blah 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 or whatever, right? And it's like, okay, cool. But when it goes into the negative side of things, it's where, all right, maybe I'm not feeling too good about myself, right? And but you know, I think a lot about how there are other people that are worse than me. And then in order to regularly remind myself and remind others, because you know, I don't want them thinking low of me. Yeah. I'm going to talk about, but did you hear about this thing? And then they also get some enjoyment about that. And then it's like, because then it's also in a weird way, there's this feeling of like being built up because, I know about this thing. Right. I know about this thing. If you ever need to know what's really going on, you come to me, you know? Yep. Yeah. It's like,
and I don't know what it is. Guys have, I would say, a similar version of this. And it's one where they kind of talk about, like, I would say it's a form of dick measuring. Yeah. Just kind of being like accomplishments and dumb, like, things like that. So we do the exact same thing. But for some reasons, the specific form of it in this, which I would say is typically done more so by women than men, which is the talking about other people, and not always in a positive way. Yeah. It is so culturally accepted in our time and society right now that it is probably the reason why, in a lot of ways, I tend towards introversion. I'm not even kidding. It is that big of a deal for me. Yeah. There is so much pointless conversation about how we talk about other people and their stuff. Right. There.
Well, and the idea that like at least, you know, and granted, I'm talking from a guy's perspective, right? Yeah. But at least, you know, in case of guys, when they're doing the dick measuring, it's very honest dick measuring, I would say. Like, not that the things that they
exaggerate.
Say... not that the things that they
I know
say
what
are
you
honest.
Mean, but yeah.
Honestly, what they're just doing is just dick measuring, right? And
they'll kind of laugh it off.
Right. They'll kind of laugh it off or whatever. But there's no question about that, right? You know, and that's you know, it's competition, basically, right?
I'm gonna appeal to all the people that are in kind of the younger age range where you're probably an adult, but you're in the younger adult kind of stage there. You would probably find it extremely distasteful if your parents essentially acted like the grandma in this case here, the mother-in-law in this case here, where there was kind of the
that mother-in-law.
But let me bring it into the gossip side of things, in the standpoint of talking maybe with other people about, oh, this is obviously why you aren't able managing to have kids at this point, you know, like something like that, where it's not just a violation of trust because, say, that's something that's private, that's not anyone else's business, but even at the standpoint of, they were like, if this was a good mother-in-law or something that was like had good intentions, right, and she was like, oh, I'm gonna find some way that I can help you all with this thing here, again, that's, you know, none of their business and stuff. So
when there was that, whatever that thing was, I just saw a heavy stick. I was looking forward. I was looking forward to what was probably going to happen. You know, it's twisted to say, but like that, because man, I hated that mother-in-law. Like, oh man.
Yeah. I gotta say, of all the stories that probably disturbed me the most, though, it was the kid
test
with the test and vomiting up all the mathematical functions and equations and what have you.
Yep.
And then putting them back in his mouth as he's like, no, I need to memorize this.
Yep.
Now, okay, if any of you have stayed up all night for studying, I totally understand your pain. I've done it once, and I'm never doing it again. Never doing it again. Horrible. Now, I did go to sleep, but it was like for 45 minutes, you know, and the alarm was the worst thing in the world because I didn't get really any sleep in that regard. But if you go, you know, a day or night with whatever without sleep in that regard, you can end up, you know, hallucinating and seeing some weird things, or at the very least, you know, just kind of having a little bit of a stress thing going on here, which is definitely what happened here. But given that they're trying to showcase this is how different and how varied and how ridiculous and how unique these shonen bat quote unquote instances are, is basically just letting us know that shonen bat has taken on a moniker of
just sort of a catch-all,
entire like cities, countries, or whatever, paranoia and fear.
Yeah,
it's now an icon of that regard. And it's being heavily marketed by all kinds of things. Crazy conspiracy theorists on radio stations, just TV news outlets, gossiping moms outside of apartment buildings and such. So there's no real way that a person could actually stop it from spreading. But you guys realize what the message is kind of being put in place here, right? Is how easily this kind of stuff spreads. Regardless of whether or not, like, of what your interpretation is of how to stop it or how to come against it, just knowing, being aware that this kind of madness, essentially, actual denial of reality, spreads because in some ways we like a story.
In our day and age, like with just how much the internet propagates things where you don't know what's real and what's not necessarily, right? Like this is in a lot of ways more relevant than ever because you know, gossiping, middle-aged ladies
that's
and stuff.
Harmless.
Or at least not that it's harmless, but that at least it's contained, right? You know, it's not going to really get outside of their sphere of influence.
You won't tell anyone.
Well, not that you won't tell anyone, but the idea that, you know, okay, it's localized to this area, you know, right? Whereas
I never assumed that. I always assumed that they were all in complete delusion.
And everyone else was going to go tell.
Right. The joke of it was that within a week, you know, 500 people would know about that information.
Yes.
From those 4 gossiping.
Well, and that's what's so scary about this is that it's so easy to basically look at those gossiping, ladies and be like, oh well, clearly they're just gossiping and the stories are ridiculous, right? Because in the case of something like Shonen Bat, it's easy for us as the viewers to look at it and say, yes, this is a made up story.
To be like the 4th girl there and just be like, hey, hold on.
Yeah, right. But for what if it's literally anything else?
Yeah.
Right? Sure. And something where it's not clearly obvious that this is not true, right?
Right.
Then how will you base, whether it's true or not? Oftentimes who you hear it from, right? What your connection is like with them. Do you like them as a person?
The actual information.
Right. It has most of the time almost nothing to do with the actual information. It's just based on, oh, I like this person. I get a good feeling when I talk to them and stuff. So when they tell me something, I accept it because it hasn't gotten me in trouble much thus far.
Right. Here's a great example of this. Recently, I was playing D&D, and I was like, oh, cool. I'm gonna be playing D&D as a player for the first time in like almost ever. And like I've done it a couple times, but not really ever. And there was a part where the DM was lamenting because he was like, it's too bad about that Game of Thrones prequel being canceled. And I was like, what? No, I don't think they canceled it. And he was just like, yeah, they canceled it. And I was like, well, like, I'm looking that up. And there was this like very interesting thing where it wasn't actually that whether or not I cared who was saying that. It was something that was so just contrary to what I expected to be the case in reality that I went and looked it up immediately and it
was something that you had interest in. So, you're like, okay, let's see what is actually the case here.
Because I had all this emotional involvement with it, I became interested and looked it up, and I was easily able to fact check that, yes, he was right.
Yeah.
But if I didn't care about any of that, who cares? It's just a Game of Thrones prequel.
Because we can't be expected to actually vet everything that we hear about in order to, because then we have to vet the sources. We have to it just fractures out.
That's
into
boring
madness.
Too. It's not
right.
It's not.
We have to actually live
it's
our
not like
lives.
I'm responsible for that at all.
Right. So we just sort of, generally, as long as it's not something too crazy, right? Or it doesn't seem
too crazy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Good luck. We just accept it, and then maybe if something strong that basically comes up and basically posits it with a strong enough argument, based on our emotional state regarding the topic, then we'll be like, oh, I guess that was incorrect. That was misinformation, whatever. And then also adjust and move on.
Also, we had the instance here, which was, oh man, this one was so disgusting, where they had their story kind of called into question, let's say, by the 4th girl there, and she was just like, I don't know if that's right. And then they were like, oh, I was there. I knew that was the thing. And then they kind of had the thing where they all kind of turned and looked at her, kind of Stepford Wives, and had this moment of like, you're on the outside.
Yep.
And that wasn't a thing where they were telling the truth at all. They were all lying about this whole thing there.
Yep.
But there was this opportunity that the first one to say that they agreed, they decided, oh wait, I can start a thing here, and we can
I'm in on this, right? It's exactly. We're all tight. Yeah.
But no, the first one that decides to do that has a different viewpoint than the other ones, because the other ones are just chiming in, going, me too. The second, the first one that basically agrees with the story is then going, oh, they're somewhat making like the value judgment, if anything, I would say slightly, of going, well, that's not true, but I see an opportunity here to kind of team up and get them here, because at the very least it would then be 2 versus 1.
Right. Well, and
the other ones do the easy thing of just going,
the thing is, in her case, there probably wasn't any even thought about it, because they know that these stories are probably bogus, but the idea of believing that, this crazy story, just you wait, oh man, you won't believe this,
and we can't have some new girl coming in here and ruining our fun.
Yeah, like the whole reason that they didn't accept her stories was just because they wanted to keep her outside as a person, because no, this is our little clique, right? And the idea that just the desire for acceptance,
well.
right? Yeah, it's so sinister.
That's disgusting.
It's so disgusting. Like,
Yeah, in some ways, like, here's something that's a good kind of healthy amount of skepticism to have. At least through, I'd say, 2 lines. I'm going to preface what I said. If you hear basically the crowd just going, this is the way things are, every once in a while, when you hear the crowd doing that, go, is it really?
Yeah.
And then what you do is you do some due diligence. You don't have to spend like a year like researching it,
Right,
what have
right.
you. But do some due diligence and at least take some thought to be put into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, see what comes up.
Right. Ask yourself the question, what if I'm in an echo chamber also?
Yeah. Every once in a while, it's good to basically throw in some heavy skepticism. I think light skepticism in, just kind of moderation displayed out just in general, that's a good thing to have. I think that it is a little bit of a disappointing thing to have against everything. Like, an example would be, I was telling someone about the fact that Jacob and I were YouTubers.
Oh.
And one of the people just attacked me with immediate skepticism of like, oh, but like, do you even have like an end game in mind? I was just like,
really?
I was just like, yeah, we do. Well, what is it? I'm like, that's none of your business. And they were like, oh, well then what's the stream going to be about? That because I was saying we're going to have a stream about. I was just going to be like, yeah, we're going to be talking about some story stuff and going over some manga. And he's like, what manga? And I'm like, One Piece. And he's like, oh, is that a big deal or something? Is that super popular? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, okay. But it was just one of these moments where, like, weird. What was this, like, rapid line of questioning?
Like, what kind of bad day, was this guy having?
I probably was just kicking his ass in Frisbee, and, but no, it was a thing of where, like, I was genuinely like, whoa, wait, where did this, like, really heavy skepticism come in? Because I'm all for, like, questioning things, but there are often a lot of times where you'll hear people just kind of going in and agreeing with everything that is being said, without actually questioning it. And I would say if it's in a one-on-one setting, it might be good to have some skepticism for sure. If it's in a group setting, though, in some ways as the individual, you have even more responsibility to be a heavier skeptic because you're operating at a group level. You're not just, moving along as one individual anymore. You have now by proximity become a part of that group.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that's really so tough nowadays, especially with things like the internet, is because we're all so much more connected, right? Yeah. We can form these groups of like-minded people where it's like, all right, yeah, community, awesome. But if it's all based on similarities, which we love to be around people that share interests and things like that, birds of a feather. Well, then that can very much become an echo chamber. And then suddenly it's like even if you normally have a good amount of skepticism, but like 24 trusted people of mine, they're all saying the same thing, right? So therefore that's what it has to be, right? 50 Frenchmen can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't like what we don't understand. In fact, it scares us. And 50, what is it?
And this monster is mysterious, at least. Yeah. Yeah, I forget what the lead up line is to 50 Frenchmen can't be wrong, but after that it's the very end, and then it's kill the beast.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. This whole thing of the trippy aspects of this show, I think, are probably why it didn't end up being as like highly rated on Mal.
Because this show, I'm sure, made a lot of people uncomfortable.
Well, I think that's part of it, sure. But I think the reason why it's so popular, is because it generated a lot of discussion.
Sure.
And the thing that I find actually less interesting about discussing about this is that this is all painfully obvious to me. Like, this is what happens, Now, obviously, it's being played out in a Satoshi Kon trippy kind of thing
and very much sort of like in your face spelling out all those things that you kind of
already know
would
for the
figure
most
to
part.
be true, but you don't ever actually focus on it, so it never you never give it much thought.
Right.
Yeah.
So for this episode, it feels a bit redundant, and I think it should, because they're showing us tons of stories of the same type of thing happening. But it's to drive the point home, like how often, like over and over and over. I just got that on like 2 levels there. That was good. that this happens, and it's not only that it happens, it's that it's rampantly happening.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly, and there is nothing you can really do about it.
Well.
No.
Okay. No.
About the fact that it's rampantly
you can't
happening.
stop it from happening necessarily.
But there's stuff
choose
you
not
can
to
do.
play in the game.
You can choose not to play in the game. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. You can choose to not succumb to it like the housewife did here.
Yeah.
Who, the scriptwriter's wife, sorry, I forgot her name, but you can choose to not make it about. I think that's the tragic thing, is when she comes home and then she's like,
Right.
"Oh my God, I've been hit by Shonen Bat," but she's like, "But tell me, how did you die?" You
Right,
know,
and
how
that's
did you
and
get
that's an
attacked?
extreme, thing,
Yeah.
and it's like,
it's meant to twist your gut a little bit.
right, twist your gut a bit, and be on that edge of realistic, that she wouldn't actually be like, okay, no, let's actually get an ambulance, then maybe I'll ask him about it later or something. But but it could happen, and given where she was at, it's like, yeah, she had been infected by the gossip network, right? And it's the idea that it's so easy, because we all crave acceptance and a feeling of belonging and everything, to get swept up in the crowd.
Yep.
Because even though we know that they shouldn't be doing this thing that they're doing, well, it's not really hurting us very much, so let's just go along with it. And I feel like in a lot of ways, like I don't know what it is for you, but for me, the biggest thing that makes it so that I never did get involved in gossiping really, and was so strongly opposed to it, is that I had a negative experience with it, like being on the other end of it,
right,
very early on, right? And then that kind of shaped my perspective on the whole topic, right?
Yeah.
But
mine was similar.
Yeah, but when you don't have that, like if I didn't have that experience, there is a very good possibility that
I'd be the kind of the person to do that. Too. Yeah.
Yep.
I think we should all just take an honest look at ourselves, specifically regarding this area here. Are we the kind of people that just echo? We just kind of pass it on without even actually thinking.
Right.
And let's not think about this on some macro level. Let's just think about this on a micro personal level. Like, how often do we do that to people that we actually care about? Or even people that, not only people that we don't care about, but people that could be like potential connections. Like, just think about it on that level, and you kind of can go, ooh. Like, and hey, if you're at least willing to be a bit reflective, like like have a little bit of self-awareness in this regard, oh my God, that's amazing. Way to go. Like, that's a great, huge first step. And in some ways, I think maybe it's a little bit easier for people that are already a little bit introspective, because they have so much, maybe their negative talk is more focused towards themselves. It doesn't really go out as much.
Yeah.
So if anything, they've got different problems to have to deal with. But I don't think we're immune in that regard. So
oh no,
I would say
environment is stronger than willpower.
Environment is way stronger than willpower. Yeah.
Given enough time.
Give it enough.
If you're not fighting to change it, sometimes even if you are,
yeah, you will succumb to it essentially.
Yep.
So that's our very just heavy episode of Paranoia Agent with
that almost
no
seems
characters that we are actually connected to,
right,
or have any
but man, those
correlation
stories hit
to from
hard.
the previous episodes.
Right.
So yeah, I am interested in the direction of this show.
Yeah.
And where it's going to go. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. And if you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length reactions there. And all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us or the community there about these shows, about anime in general. And you can also talk with Jacob about the book he wrote.
Yes, that's right. So, I wrote a book. Sci-fi novel called Battle Lines. It's available on Amazon. The link's in the description. Go check it out. One of the other things, though, that is pretty important is that it's also available in ebook form.
Yeah.
So if you don't want to get that hardback copy, you can do that.
Sure.
And I think Amazon has like a deal where they have like a ebook subscription service that can make you like get access to stuff, for free and whatnot.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.